be naive. There's always something up their sleeve, a twisted reason they commit this treason, a friendship bound from now till the end of time.
All right, Aftershocks TV, Matt and Tom, we're here with you for another episode, and we'd like to welcome our guests on this week's show. Excuse me. This gentleman's had quite a super busy 2023. He's been on tour with bands like Tesla, Buck Cherry, Skid Row, Mushroom Head, Yngwie Malmsteen, and he's gearing up, of course, for another run here with Tesla and a slew of other headlining dates he's got coming up. We got Mr. KURT DEIMER joining us today on Aftershocks. KURT, thanks so much for joining us. Merry Christmas, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it very much. I'm doing good. I'm out here wrapping up some stuff with some videos and some film, a movie that we have coming out, and life is good, man.
Fantastic. Awesome, KURT. Well, yeah, there's a lot we got to unpack here, of course, to the audience here, because like I said, you've got, just to start things off, I mean, you've got really such an interesting story and path that you've now taken with music. It's pretty, I mean, it's not your conventional, young kid, 20s, gets into the business and just, does it forever. No, you've got a whole different path here. And, we're going to talk about it a little bit here, but like I was mentioning, I mean, you've obviously played, and toured with so many legendary bands, as we mentioned. You even have a duet track with Jeff Tate of Queensryche. And I'm sure the first thing I think that will probably come to a lot of, of our audience, the people in our audience here to their minds is, who's KURT DEIMER? Because like I said, you've only been at this for a few years now. And yet you've already made really quite, the splash. You've got quite a resume already that only many can dream of, man, at this point. So let's just, have you start off, KURT. I guess just tell the listeners, tell us really just a little bit about your background on your road now to musical relevancy. I mean, I know before you started, the band, you started playing music, you had a very successful career as an entrepreneur. So why don't you go ahead and just kind of brief the audience here on your background.
Just like a little brief synopsis of how my life has went, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I played music when I was young. I learned piano. I played drums. I did all that when I was young. I had a band later on in my early college days when I was pretty much just drinking and playing in a band and partying instead of going to college. And then around the age of 20, I formed a band with a lifetime friend of mine who played guitar. We played around Cincinnati. I was going to the University of Cincinnati at the time, or at least attempting to. And we had a band that played around locally about the time the Afghan Wigs were coming out of Cincinnati.
Okay.
And then at 20, I realized I was going nowhere fast. I needed to, quit partying. I needed to graduate. I wanted a college degree, so I buckled down. I met my kid's mom. I have 3 beautiful boys that I raised, which I'll talk about in this timeline. And I finished my college degree at Cincinnati and just quit music. Got married at a young age and got kind of my life in order. Very stressful time. I had a lot of severe anxiety. I didn't know what it was at that point, and that was a long time ago. But I had to figure that out as I grew up and was growing up and maturing. So got married at 22. Went into the oil business. My father and grandfather had been in the oil business for many years, so I went and learned all I could about the oil business, but realized that I didn't want to be a corporate kiss ass my whole life and be limited as to what I could make. So eventually, even after I had my first 2 sons, I left the business after I'd learned all I could and took a chance and put $40,000 that I had raised by buying and selling real estate and renting it out, just, run down houses and stuff that I learned from the Carlton Sheets method. An infomercial that was on back then.
Wow. Okay.
And, put that in the bank and did what everybody said. Oh, you're stupid. You have 2 little kids. You can't start an oil company. So I did, and now that runs itself. Starfire. You can check it out at starfire.com. I blend my own oil. I have a blend plant up in Pennsylvania. that feeds my other distribution company. So that all runs itself. And I was knee deep in that 12 hours a day for 20 years. And as my kids got older and changes happened in my life, I was going down to Alabama. We were starting to put Starfire products in movies, placements in movies. It's a thing. And I was going to do a cameo in this movie in 17 called Trading Paint that starred John Travolta and Shania Twain. So I was down there to do the cameo. And then the next thing you know, they're offering me a speaking line in the movie. And I ended up getting cast in the movie that night about an hour before the scene shot. Learned my lines, went in there. John Travolta's showing me what to do. We're talking about the scene. I'm doing the scene with Toby Sebastian from Game of Thrones. They were all amazing. I ended up making it in the movie. I was the track announcer, and that night a light went on. I'm like, I'm going to go back to being the creative I was that I suppressed when I gave it up at 20, 21 years old. This was a sign for sure. And then the next thing you know, I get cast in Halloween, the 2018, John Carpenter, real sequel to the original. And I'm getting killed by Michael Myers, and that was surreal. And while I'm sitting there talking to James Jude Courtney at the set and got this big prosthetic over my face, wearing blankets so the public can't see it and all this shit, I decided I'm going to do my own horror movie franchise, because if Halloween could be this successful, then I could do it as well. And ended up teaming up with Kevin Wayne, who I was doing some smaller things with in Alabama at the time. And we decided to do Hellbilly Hollow, which should come out in 2024, that I star in alongside Kevin Wayne. So that was the next phase. And then while I was down there doing all that, I met a gentleman by the name of Ben Trexel through Kevin, who had 3 songs that he had done with another one of our friends. And I said, yeah, the songs are great, but it's like a wedding band. I go, I used to sing and I'm different. So let me see if I like it or want to get back into it and put my voice the way I used to sing on there. And then we kept writing more songs, and Ben and I put together a demo album of songs. We took it to David Bendeth up in the Northeast, up in New Jersey, and he did some stuff with that. And then I eventually in 2019, I'd come out for the Halloween premiere in 18, walked the red carpet in 18. This is literally a year and a month after I didn't even know I was going to be doing this in my life. And then 19, I started transitioning to where I got a little studio out in LA in Woodland Hills, just to see if I could break, because of course everybody's going, Kurt, you're just like they did with the oil business. You can't do this. You can't do that. You're this old. You can't get back into rock music now. There's no way you're ever going to, when people tell me I can't do something, it's like I just want to shove it up their ass
Nice.
and prove to them that you can't, any of us can do anything we want to do in our life if you put your mind to it and you work hard. Doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you work hard, you can make shit happen. And, my voice is different, and I just stay true to who I am. So I came out here, and right as the COVID was hitting, people I was with at the time, they were calling around to have my demos remixed out here. And Chris Lord-Alge was one of the shots in the dark that we made. And he agreed to check out my music and liked it, and was kind of took me under his wing. And we started becoming really good friends and going out to dinners. And he had a sincere interest in my career. And there was a song, Have a Cigar, that Ben wanted to do a cover of the Pink Floyd Have a Cigar. And I wasn't really feeling the vibe of it. And that's not the song I would pick to cover. But Chris said, let me show you what we can do with your voice with this song. And we did that the summer of the COVID year, 2020. And I heard the guitar on it. The guitarist, I found out it was Phil X. About a month later, Phil X and we get together and shoot the music video for it. And that was the first song we put out. once I became and started going out under KURT Deimer. So that's kind of how it all started. And from there, I did a small run with some musicians during COVID to kind of show a preview of my movie. And then in 2021, I picked up a management at the time, and they connected me with the Tates, Jeff and Susan Tate. And Jeff, God bless him, what a great friend they are, a mentor to me. You know, he agreed to be on a song with me, and he agreed to let me go out on my first tour with his band, and that's how it all started in 2021. And I've been touring less than it's about 2 years now, and here we are today. So
yeah,
sorry if that was too long, but that's kind of how.
No, that's great. That's a great, the synopsis of, I mean, how you got to where you are, like you said, because it is so unconventional. Now, speaking, as I was talking about before, obviously you're getting ready to do some dates with Tesla on the Keeping It Real tour next year, and obviously you got a bunch of dates that you're doing on your own, I believe, as well. The Be Kind tour, I believe, is what you're calling it, correct?
Yeah, it's the Be Kind tour. I sell my cross T-shirts at the shows that I designed with Henry Duarte out here in LA, who does stuff for Ghost and everybody. And my whole message is I write my songs to get shit out of my brain that I've learned and been through my whole life. And I want people to, whether they hear What You Saying or Naive or Back of the School, everything I write has a message relevant that if one person it touches, and I always make sure you can hear my lyrics clearly, even when I perform live, everything. I touch a lot of lives that way, and that's why I do what I do. I told my grandmother before she passed during COVID, because nobody could visit her. She was 106 years old.
Wow.
And I'll never forget it. The week before, I was out on tour doing this little small run during COVID, and the last time I talked to her, I said, Grandma, I'm like, my grandpa was a motivational speaker, and I just said, look, I'm doing what Grandpa did. I just do it in rock music, and if I can touch lives, teach people how to be kind in this crazy world, motivate them to want to get up and fight for what they want to do in their life, and make a difference in the world, then I'm doing my job. So it's very important to me.
Sure.
That's a great message, Kurt. And I mean, I get full disclosure from me. I'm a new fan to you, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass just because you're here. And I said this to Matt earlier, that, doing research for this and driving around today, and I text Matt at 3 o'clock today, said, God damn, this music is good. So you got me kind of hooked. But for somebody, what tends to happen, you got it, man. But what tends to happen is somebody will watch this, they like the story, they like what we're saying. You're going to mention Phil X, and they're going to go, Yngwie Malmsteen, say again. But, and I want to talk about that too. But when somebody goes to your show, so I'm going to jump around a little bit, but when someone goes to your show and they're checking out Tesla primarily, and they see KURT Deimer, what are they going to see? What are they going to see when you come out on stage? You go, hey, I'm KURT Deimer, and then boom, the band takes it away.
Well, what they see, I mean, if they meet KURT Deimer, and I'm always happy to meet everybody anywhere, anytime, before or after a show. I'm an accessible artist. What they're going to see is a chill, mellow, laid back dude, but that is very competitive and will do and defy the odds of what the norm thinks is the norm in the world, if you will. And then when I hear the intro and we go out on stage, whether it's a little one or a big one or whatever, you're just going to see KURT Deimer lose his shit for like 30 to 45 minutes and present one of the best energetic rock shows you've seen. I'm going to interact with the crowd. I'm going to try to bring people together in unity instead of all this divisiveness going on in the world. And you're just going to be blown away. And you're going to hear a sound kind of like when Van Halen came out, they had their own sound. Or when AC/DC came out, they had their own sound. Well, I have my own sound. I don't need to be cookie cutter. I don't need to be like everybody else. You either like the way I sing and present my music, or you don't, and that's fine. I mean, we all have a right to like or not like something, and we don't have to belittle each other. I mean, we all like different toppings on our pizza. It doesn't mean because you don't like pepperoni, I got to hate you. I mean, just, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
And those two bands influenced me majorly, and I'm just going to stick true to who I am. And eventually, with folks like you having me on and letting me tell my story and turning people onto our music, it just takes one day at a time, takes a village, and it keep growing. And then before you know it, now we're headlining in less than 2 years because we're starting to get in people's ears. And the more we do that all over the world, my goal eventually is to play huge arenas and festivals all over the world the rest of my life. So.
Can't be naive. There's always something up their sleeve. A twisted reason they commit this treason. A friendship bound from now till the end of time. Can't be naive. Better let it be or leave. They pump you up to take command, hoping chaos will force your hand. Undetected, disrespected, misdirected, and waste my time. Money hungry. Motherfuckers wanna be your friend. Money hungry, fools to the very end. Money hungry, bloodsuckers always hanging around. Slithery snakes going down, down, down. Can't be naive. There's always something up their sleeve. Of the hand that leads with flattery. Put them away for assault and battery. Can't be naive. Not easy to believe. Stealing, never healing. 100% lost, but at what cost? Undetected, disrespected, misdirected, and it tastes like shit. Money hungry, motherfuckers wanna be your friend. Money hungry, fools to the very end. Money hungry, bloodsuckers always hanging around. Slithery snakes going down, down, down. Listen to me. Think before you buy that shit. And then toast it with a drink. Scummy and deceitful. Don't enable another sequel. Don't deny. Stop the lie. Make up shit. Be gone fly. Swatter. Why'd I even bother? It was never real. Just like you. Just pretend. Wanna be your friend. Money hungry, fools to the very end. Money hungry, bloodsuckers always hanging around. Money hungry, slithery snakes going down. Money hungry, going down, down, down. Money hungry, going down, down, down. Money hungry, bloodsuckers always hanging around. Slithery snakes going down, down, down.
I know too. You spoke about Phil X KURT too. That like I've a lot of people know him and don't know him, and a lot of rock and metal fans don't know him because he's in Bon Jovi. So there's kind of Bon Jovi, and then there's whatever, because they just became this band over the years, like the
right.
bomb band, whatever it is. But I had the pleasure of seeing Bon Jovi a couple of times over the last couple of years with Phil X on stage. And that guy I remember texting my buddies. I saw him in New Jersey. I lived in Jersey for 6 years going back. Yeah. And I remember saying, and I didn't know who he was at the time because the Richie Sambora thing had happened and whatever. And I was looking at him on stage going, who the fuck is this dude? Because he was just playing his shit. And his hair was down and he was like rocking out, whatever. It's almost like he wanted to go full shred, but he couldn't because the songs wouldn't allow it, or maybe John Bon Jovi wouldn't allow it.
Well,
but, and I saw that. And I saw when you did Have a Cigar by Pink Floyd, because I think that guitar solo, I'm a huge Floyd fan. That guitar solo when that song was so good, I said, how is this going to be replicated? And I listened to the studio version, but I tracked down a YouTube clip that you guys did in Dingbats a couple of years ago in New Jersey, 2 years ago, I think it was. And Phil X just let rip on that. And I said, if anybody doesn't know who Phil X is, check out that video and see how talented this dude really is.
Oh, yeah. And that solo was a one-take solo.
Unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable.
Yep. So, yeah. And Phil and I wrote a lot of the songs you've heard together, and we've got a bunch that I'm getting ready to put out a double album, my debut album. I wanted it to be like back in the day where you open it up, it kind of tells the story. And we're going to put about probably 15, 16 songs out on that a bunch that people haven't heard. But yeah, Phil and I, we wrote a bunch together. He graciously went out and toured with me the first couple years. I felt terrible because he's in Bon Jovi, and he comes off playing a big arena, and he's coming, to play with KURT Deimerer. But he's happy. They just recorded a new album. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I owe so much to Phil for being part of my journey, and some of the stuff we created together is just amazing, and I'm forever grateful to him. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, KURT, let's get into talking. Speaking about music, let's get to talking about your latest single that you've just, I also believe, put a lyric video out for, called "Doom." A song that was, what I read, was written about heroin addiction. Obviously, something that's probably more prevalent in our society, I think, these days than ever before. It's just become such an epidemic, with so many people. I mean, that I think most people probably know of somebody has unfortunately succumbed to addiction, whether it's heroin or any other addictions in general. But so talk to us a little bit about Doom and the track, and where the inspiration really came for the song.
Yeah, Doom. I can remember. I wrote this on my desk. I think I wrote it in the ideas and the concept of Doom back in April of 21, and it's when Hellbilly Hollow, we needed a song for the explosive ending of the movie, and horror movies are about doom and death and all that. So that was the initial thing, and then I'm also I was addicted to a lot of stuff, not heroin, as a youngster, and struggled because of my anxiety. So I know what the grips of it can be, and I know it's a epidemic around the world with fentanyl and with heroin and with any kind of pills you can get addicted to. I mean, hell, we just lost Matthew Perry to ketamine because of his addictions.
Sure.
I mean, so many different things out there that can kill, and we have such a fragile society, if you will, now compared to the way it used to be, and fragile brains and minds out there. So I wanted to talk about the doom that can be caused in one's life due to any kind of addiction, and of heroin being a major one, and also just have the doom of the horror movie and let it cross paths. So again, my song can have a message to it, even though it fulfills the need of what it needs to do in the movie as well. So that's how Doom came about. And Phil and I actually did this one together, and Phil did a phenomenal job of taking the original vision of it and helping me turn it into what it is. And that's the Doom you see today. So.
Coming for you, a figment of your mind, something dark and blue. We do drugs, we get lit, hate on each other, that ain't the worst of it. Doom. Psychos and killers roaming free, a lightning bolt, hepatitis C. Life is scary, a runaway train. Take the ride, go out of your brain. Doom, fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melted on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. Sex unprotected, you feel the bloom. it's in your head. Feel so alive in the dance of the dead. The dance of the dead. Doom, fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melt it on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. Joke's on you. Fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melt it on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. Fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melt it on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. I got some flowers for your mother.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, and speaking of message, man, let's get into your lyrics. Is definitely want to get into that. It said, I was reading one of the press releases I was sent, and it said, really your mantra is to take the high road, do the right thing, and encourage others. That's sort of your mantra that you go by. So now, now obviously rock and metal, obviously are genres that have, traditionally been known, more to sing and have lyrics that revolve around rebellion, debauchery and dystopia, so you're coming now with really an uplifting and positive message to sort of counter that sort of conventional way where rock is sort of seen, or where the way it's been sort of presented over the years. I mean, especially now too, of course, in a day and age where, there's unfortunately very little of the positivity being practiced in society, as we've kind of just talked about. It's very, very fragile. So for you, I mean, where does really all this, your positive messages and just the way, the way you want to present your message, I mean, where does this all stem from? Have you always been that, guy that's where the glass has always been half full type of guy? Is that something, or is that just something, as you mentioned, just through your struggles early on in your life, you've just been able to kind of overcome and become really this is very, positive individual who now is obviously promoting that message through your music?
You know where it came from? It came from my upbringing. My parents, my dad. I'm sure you've seen the song I wrote for my dad.
Mm-hmm.
My dad always taught me to take the high road, kill them with kindness. There's going to be a lot of people out there in the world that are going to try to dupe you and take advantage of you. And he was so right and all that. And I saw all the different things that happened to my dad. As he didn't make the brightest decisions when he retired, and people took advantage of that, whether it be companies or individuals. But my parents always took the high road. My grandfather was a motivational speaker, positive speaker. I studied Norman Vincent Peale a lot when I was going through my anxiety, and a lot of positive, reading a lot of positive, messages from the people that preach that kind of stuff to try to figure out what was going on in my brain. So that all is added to it. But, then I can write a song. I want to write a positive song like What You Saying, or try to uplift people with stuff like that. But then I'll write a song called Naive, which rocks hard. And it talks about everybody who tried to take advantage of me in the first couple years of getting into the music business. And not to say it's never going to stop, but I want people to be aware that, there's money hungry motherfuckers out there in the world that are going to want to jump on your back or take advantage of you or put you down or whatever. So I try to share all that stuff I've been through with everybody so they don't have to go through the same pain. So it can be positive that way too with a slammer song. So I don't know. It just, whatever I'm feeling at the time. I write lyrics usually late at night, and I get into my brain, and if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't force it. Everything I've written or any idea I've had is unforced, and it's not like, okay, today at 2:00 I'm going to write a song. I might write a song when we hang up if something comes into my mind. I don't know. I just let it happen. So,
Kurt, tell me about that. You mentioned Jeff Tate. How did that collaborate? First of all, it's a great track, but how did that collaboration come about? You mentioned that you got to know the Tates a little bit, but in terms of actually, a musical adventure, and then Tate, and I remember an interview going back a couple of months ago, I think you did with Chris, and you said it was recorded somewhere, it was like 120 degrees or something like that. Talking about that a little bit, because, that's a rock heavyweight right there. So what we're trying to do here is to promote you and kind of throw in the Brian Wheats and Jeff Tates or whatever, so people can take notice of that and go, well, who's this guy?
Yeah, Jeff and I met the summer of 21 before we went on tour in the fall, and it was through my management, Andy Gould and Paul Gargano at the time. Paul had a relationship with the Tates, and we needed to get out on tour. I mean, it was right. I started doing this as COVID hit, so everything was fucked up. Everybody was backed up on tour.
Yeah.
And that one fell into, because of the work my management did, then they brought us together, and we met in LA, and we agreed to do all that. And then we went and shot Burn Together that before the tour started, and it was out in the desert, Palm Desert, I think, or the place out there. Yeah, it was about 115 degrees. You could barely breathe. And I would shoot part of it, go back, sit in my car in the air conditioning, go back. Jeff was a trooper. I mean, it didn't seem to really faze him. Phil X was out there jamming on a fucking airplane wing. It was, but it all came together because of that management, because Jeff has a big heart and he liked what I did, and he liked my vibe, and he loved the way our voices meshed together. And, he just was very grateful and willing to give me a chance. And that's very rare finding out in this business, because pretty much what I'm finding out is that all the musicians are pretty much competitors, and nobody really wants to help each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I would.
Yeah.
I mean, if I become relevant as an artist, or someone just trying to get a break, wants someone with my kind of voice on a song, I would always entertain anything, because I'm here to help other people, and if it makes sense to do it, and I would do it.
But Kurt, I want you to remember Matt and Tom when you're headlining Madison Square Garden in 2 years from now, because
I'll be. Matt and Tom will be backstage with me. So.
There you go, drinking beer. I don't care. I got another question. Just you mentioned the touring. Sorry, your influences. The touring is another one, but on the influences, looking at the press release, and you mentioned AC/DC, and I can hear that in your music. That kind of just constant underlying beat just going on. It's like Malcolm Young in the background, just keeping it going all the time.
Yeah.
I hear Boston with the harmonies, the big harmonies come in. It's almost unexpected. A little bit of Leonard Skinner I hear coming in on the kind of the boogie southern rock. And then I read you've got Bob Marley. Now I need to know about that. I'm curious as where's that coming in.
Oh, I'm a big reggae fan. I love reggae music. If I go to a concert, it's usually reggae.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of reggae, and I have a song that's in Hellbilly Hollow called Acidic Fizz, which is a reggae vibe meets Muse. We go into a slamming chorus, and that may come out on the new album. I don't know. People can't really wrap their head around that song because it's reggae meets Muse. But you know what? People couldn't wrap their head around Queen putting out, Bohemian Rhapsody, and look at that. You never know until you
did a reggae song in House of the Holy, so go figure. So
yeah, by no means am I trying to compare myself, because they're like way beyond the earth. But my point is that you don't know until you try, until you put it out, and either people will like it or they won't like it. And if you don't ever try, you never know. So, but yeah, I love reggae. You nailed Boston. I used to jam to them on my little record player. I would jump off my bed to "Ooh, Are You Feeling Satisfied?"
Yeah.
I love Boston, AC/DC. I was a big Cheap Trick fan back then. Rush, all that stuff. You know, I saw
Love it.
Iron Man before Bruce was in the band. You know, I
Mm.
just
Oh
I
wow.
saw Ozzy Rhodes before, about a month before Randy passed. I had tickets to see Led Zeppelin in Houston right before John Bonham died, and so I never got to see
Dang.
them. But yeah, I love it. You nailed. You know, Leonard Skinner. I always have loved Leonard Skinner. So
Yeah,
you're nailing my
love it,
band
love it.
and my influence.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, reggae is kind of my. I love to perform the rock, and not to say I wouldn't love to perform the reggae, but the reggae is its own niche and genre,
Mhm.
and I enjoy seeing that live because of the happy vibes, and
Sure.
it always tends to be a very positive vibe. So if I can bring that kind of vibe to rock music, why not? And that's probably why my songs are so positive, because of my reggae influence.
Very cool.
Love it.
Very cool. Yeah. So I mean, Kurt, like you just mentioned before, big name, Chris Lord Alge. Obviously, you said you've
Yeah.
toured with so many rock musicians as well as, like you said, and I know I do believe Brian Weed is currently your manager. Is he your manager from
Yeah.
Tesla? Correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Brian
Okay.
Wheat, the bass player at Tesla, is my manager, and Dean Robson, who
Mhm.
also manages Tesla as on their road manager. So those are my managers, and we were doing a show with Tesla in Texas in September of 22. I think it was Midland, and I'm just sitting out there in my chair having a smoke, and I hadn't even met Brian at the first few shows, and he walked by and he said, "I really dig your shit," and we've hit it off ever since. And eventually, he became my manager. He's no nonsense. He built Tesla from his garage as a teenager with Frank and Jeff, and I admire that because I'm an entrepreneur, and he did it despite all the odds. And what
Mhm.
better guy to have in your corner than a guy who's just like you, who's defying all the odds as well. So it made sense. And him and I are very good friends now, and just as much as he manages me, we're even better friends, and
Very cool.
got each other's back, man. And it's been a great match. We've only been together a year, and look at all the things that have happened
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
in that.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Lord Alge, we've been working on all this music. It's kind of like I learned the music business by going to Mix LA. It's like I've been in high school the last 3 years, and he's plugged in mixes for legends. We just had dinner last night, him and I. So we're friends as well, just as much as we are that we work together. He does a great job with my stuff, and that what you're going to see in this album, this double album that's going to debut in 2024, is the work that Chris and I and Phil and everybody else has put into our music over the last few years, and it's finally going to come out to the public in that form. So
Very cool. Fantastic.
I
Fantastic.
love it.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I just wanted to get one more question I have for you, Kurt. It's going back to the lyrics again. Like we've been talking about, very uplifting. I know I believe I read you mentioned some that you want to help people. A lot of reason why you do the music or what your message is or whatever it is, it's really to help people sort of decompress and feel better after a tough day. I know, like you said, that's what music did for you, and that's obviously what it does,
yeah,
for a lot of us. And there's a couple of songs on the EP you put out a couple years ago that I on Work Hard Rock Hard EP that I really enjoyed. Only Time Will Tell, obviously, I think is one of your top
yeah,
tracks, and also the track which I really interested in is Back of the School. That track obviously it gets into sort of the social media madness, right? I
yeah.
want to ask someone like yourself who's really such a positive guy. How do you find a way to be positive when it comes to that? Because that's definitely the area I could definitely use some help, with in myself is with social media. Because like I said, we all know how negative just in general that is. Do
Yeah.
you even engage in social media? How do you stay really, don't let all especially as a new artist and you're opening for Tesla and all these great musicians. I'm sure there's a lot of people throwing their junk and stuff out there. I mean, how do you just keep it positive and kind of shrug all that stuff off?
Well, anybody who, if you don't like, it goes back to what I said. If you don't like my music, then just move on. You don't have to say something negative. And I think too many people are becoming wounded in the world from social media, because everybody can hide behind their computer. Nobody's talking to each other's face. I mean, I don't care what you say. You're a coward if you say mean things to somebody over social media, because you can hide behind your computer. And I wanted to convey that message to people, just it's cowardice. Back in the day, people were upset at each other. We went to the back of the school and we fought it out, and there was usually a big group, and it was right in your face. And that's the way. Not that I'm condoning that either, but it's just like the sneakiness. We've empowered mean, malicious people through social media to be mean to the rest of the world, and you can see where the world's come since social media's come out. It's a pretty mean world we live in right now. It's nothing like it used to be, and it's a direct, it has a direct impact on it. So even though the song may not come across as positive, it is positive in a way where I'm trying to help people realize that this is just what we live in. I want people to leave each other alone. I mean, if I could help everybody who's getting bullied on social media, I would. But hopefully by doing this song, it's helping them in a way to maybe look at it differently, so it doesn't impact them so dreadfully in their mind.
Sure. Hey, Kurt, I got a question. Just like I can see the Tesla, the drowning pool, the Skid Row, the Buck Cherry. I got to ask about Yngwie. How the fuck did that happen? And what was the I've seen Yngwie, so I know I do not play in note, but I love musicians. I love guitar players. I love Dream Theater Rush. I love watching what's happening. So I've been to Yngwie shows, but how did the Shredders, because they're all probably guitar players or wannabe guitar players, react to you coming out on stage? What was that like?
It was very cool, actually. We were a little skeptical about how we would what do you say, how we would be perceived by his audience. But we had people come up to us after every set and on every show with Yngwie, and they're like, it was so nice to have a band that we've never heard your style of rock before come out, put on a rock show with lyrics, and add a little diversity to the evening. So instead of it just an all shredder evening, it was, who was with it? There was another band that played before. I can't remember all the bands, but it was more a variety than just an all shredder night. So we kind of set a Yngwie to come out and do his thing, and it played off really well. But you're right. I mean, Phil and I were very worried about, was it just going to be a bunch of technical guitar dudes, older dudes?
Did you get to meet him? Did you get to meet Yngwie?
Yeah, not much on the tour, but at the end, the last night down in Florida, we got pictures together. He thanked me. I thanked him for giving us a chance to share our music with the world, and he told me, I know all your songs now, so if you ever need a fill-in guitar player, just give me a call. So
I love it. But I gotta just, I know we're wrapping up in a minute, but when you look at your life story, you spoke about obviously your youth and your dad passing and your positive messaging in the oil business and real estate. You mentioned that. I'm a realtor, so I can get that angle, and obviously music right now. Did anybody ever approach you and say, dude, you got a book in there, you got a story?
Oh yeah, I've had people do that, and I will probably end up writing a book someday, but I think I'm still in the middle of the book right now. I know, but it's just a matter of when and where and how, but I would love to find a good writer that I can just sit down and he can pick my brain, and hopefully my book, once I'll do it while I'm on the journey, but it will help touch other people and motivate them to not want to give up on their dreams and not listen to all the naysayers, and just realize you can do what you want to do. It's up to you. It's up to your brain. It's up to your heart. It's up to your soul. Nobody has that in them. So really what they tell you can and can't do means nothing, because it's all up to you. So
Kurt,
someday.
On that note right there, do you take notes on the road about what's happening? So if you ever want to go back in 10 years from now, you can kind of reference it.
Oh, it's all in my brain, dude. I mean, my brain is I have a photographic memory, and I remember shit back till I was 2 years old. crazy.
Wow.
So
I'm looking forward to that book. I want that book.
I think the story will be better told. Like even when I act, a lot of stuff that my movie I just shot in March with Lynn Shay and Bill Moseley, which you guys don't even know about, I'm sure, called Scared to Death, is probably getting ready to hit theaters next year, and it's really going to launch, help me with my Hillbilly Hollow movie once it comes out, because Lynn Shay stars in Insidious and Bill's in The Devil's Rejects, all the Rob Zombie movies, and Texas Chains, all that shit. And we've all become very good friends, and we've shot this film, which we're very, very proud of, that I hope all of you can see soon. And I even wrote the title song for it, Scared to Death. And, you know, that's all part of the journey, man. I don't forget anything. And if people told me, don't do that, you can't do that movie. You can't, nobody, Lynn Shay's not going to want you in the movie. And Lynn, you wait till you see my character. And Bill Moseley said I'm one of his favorite straight guys he's ever worked with in a movie, and I do everything. I ad-lib, Bill ad-libs, and in Hillbilly Hollow, half that movie I ad-libbed everything. So my whole point to this was, for the book, I don't need to take notes, because I would rather sit down and somebody start asking me the questions and then let it free flow out of my brain.
Let it go.
Exactly, because that's who I am. I'm not a structure guy. I hate math. The only thing I like in math is how to make what this minus this equals this much profit. So that's I don't need to know about all the letters and shit. But yeah. So I think my book will be best told. You know, maybe I'll even call it, you know, something to do with my brain. I don't know, because my brain is way different than a lot of people. So
right.
Fantastic. Once again, everybody, make sure you go check out KURT Deimer. He'll be appearing alongside Tess on the Keeping It Real tour, as well as his own Be Kind tour as well, with select dates. Go ahead, Kurt. Let the audience know, the viewers and listeners know where they should, you know, go keep up with you and just, you know, find the tour dates, you know, keep up with your music, all that stuff. What's the best place to send?
Okay. Well, it's KURT, KURT, Deimer, DEIMER, pronounced Deimer. You can Google my name and all kinds of stuff will come up, but please follow us on Instagram. Help spread the word as we continue to grow that organically. Facebook, our followers as well. Click, follow us on at KURT Deimer on Facebook. Join the KURT Deimer Fam Club on Facebook. It's FAM, F-A-M. Go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe there. You can keep up with all of our videos and music. You can follow us on Spotify. Stream our music there, Amazon, Apple, anywhere you stream music. We appreciate the follows there. You can go to kurtdeimer.com to keep up with tour dates and all that kind of stuff. Buy merch. As we continue to evolve our website, the album will probably have a pre-sale starting on our double debut album on the website. Look at bands in town, just anywhere. Google KURT Deimer. You'll see all kinds of stuff about my movies, IMDb. And I can't grow this and play for you and headline and do crazy shit and bring my acting onto stage with my rock music until we get bigger. And it takes all of you to help us do that. So thank you from my heart ahead of time. And just please help spread the word at KURT Deimer everywhere. On any social media, TikTok, anywhere, Twitter, whatever. We're out there. Or not Twitter, X now, but
X.
Yeah. So yeah, I just need people to actually follow us and help spread the word, because that's what everybody, all the booking, all the people look at. How many follow? Sure. And I want real followers. Everything organic. So let's all just spread the word. It takes a village, and I'll be out to play a kick-ass show for you soon.
Got it, man.
Fantastic. Well, Kurt, we appreciate you coming on Aftershocks, and yeah, man, we'll see you on the road soon, man. Really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Without folks like you, Matt and Tom, I couldn't do what I do, and people wouldn't hear my music. So thank you guys very much for having me.